hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Yes, we
great.
can.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, we can.
So is it time to go live?
You're live already, so we'll start in a minute's time. We're live.
Okay, just let me know when you're ready.
Yes, we're live already.
Are we good to go?
Yes, we're good to go.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second edition of the SME Digital Transformation webinar series, which is created to create an avenue for SMEs to actually get expert information and, of course, knowledge on a range of related issues and topics. My name is Winfrey Daniel Okolo. I'm a lawyer, a media personality, and an entrepreneur, amongst other amazing things, okay? So this webinar is actually brought to you by Business Day Media, which happens to be West Africa's leading provider of business intelligence and information on diversified media platforms, including online, mobile, and print, and netplus.com, which is a leading technology and digital payment company with a mission to provide practical and innovative merchant services and digital payment solutions to businesses in Nigeria and emerging markets globally. Okay, I mean, with the whole coronavirus and everything that has happened in the past year, we all know that our lives have greatly been affected. And of course, business is actually one major area that we know is really important when it comes to, living and thriving in any part of the world. So definitely the pandemic hit, our businesses got hit. Now we are in an era where we need to look for how to take our businesses to the next level. And of course, we all know that now with most things we're doing, just like this webinar, we have to get technology involved to, get a semblance of normalcy moving forward. And that is why today we'll definitely be talking about revamping your business processes in the digital era. And that is definitely going to be our theme. Today is definitely going to be an amazing and insightful, educative one, because we have panelists who have really, really experience with whatever they do. And of course, they're going to bring this experience to us and let us know how we can take our businesses from where it is now to where we want it to be. Okay, and without any further ado, I'd like to say that if you have any questions, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat room with your name, your location, your business name, which is actually optional, and your question, definitely. So right now, let me introduce to you our esteemed panelists. First off, we have Mr. Fego Umunubo. Mr. Fego Umunubo, who is the CEO of Extreme Mind Solutions Limited, with over 10 years of success in brand management. Mr. Fego's reputation in creative brand management has earned him his good recognition both home and abroad, offering him the opportunity to execute creative projects for both federal and state parastatals. Good morning, sir. Secondly, we have Mr. Arinze Chileofia. He is the special advisor to the governor of Enugu State on SME development and investment promotions. He is also the head of Enugu SME Center, the state agency's state developmental finance institution, with a purview to facilitate easier access to resources required by SMEs and micro enterprises to achieve sustainable development in the States. Good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Finally, we have Mr. Dolapo Adejuigbe. He is a co-founder of Traction, an SME-focused startup providing offline payment services and growth tools to merchants in Nigeria and emerging markets. Mr. Dolapo has over 10 years of experience in consulting, with 7 of those years with McKinsey and Company, Nigeria, South Africa, the UAE. As part of his experience, he co-founded a digital bank in Ghana, designed the latest digital financial inclusion projects in Africa, and designed an SME ecosystem for a major bank in Egypt. Mr. Dolapo has significant experience working in the SME financial services space across several emerging markets countries. Welcome. Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much.
As I said, it is definitely my pleasure to be moderating this particular virtual event. And I hope that at the end of today, we'll definitely have gone away with a lot of knowledge and the confidence we need to take our businesses from where it is right now to the next level. So let me get right into it. So Mr. Dolapo, if you don't mind, let me start with you, right? So the question is, with everything that has happened, we have no choice but to include technology into our businesses and then take our businesses online. So would you say that in a way, the pandemic has been a blessing in disguise?
Would I say, I mean, everyone, thank you so much for the question. I think, everyone has always said the future is digital. And I think for a very long time, digital enthusiasts like us have basically said, the future is now, essentially. And it has, it's important to note that while a lot of our businesses in Nigeria and customers like engaging offline, the pandemic really expedited how we think about business operations. I think, what we, when you think about marketing or just, the logistics, etc., it really showed us more efficient ways of operating, right? People can now move to digital marketing, logistics, we're leveraging digital folks, we're leveraging platforms rather, and selling, it's become better. But I think a blessing has also been, it has expedited the education for customers. So it's not just great for you as a business to want to go digital, it's also your customers wanting go digital as well and engage digitally. And I think, that education has been expedited. I think also just internal processes wise, things that we felt that needed to be done in person, we've been able to really top of mind. It's very clear now, those things that could be fixed with, digital platforms as well, from collaboration to, how we do record keeping to, to more, better payment and efficient methods. Even from a payment point of view, we've seen people move away from cash, which is something the government has been hoping for and, businesses have been hoping for. And so that has all been a blessing. So to answer your question, yes. And I think, one of the biggest things that's moved it has also been that expedition from a customer point of view, and that ease and that trust that they need to engage digitally. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, now moving straight to the topic for today, which is actually revamping our business processes in the digital era. Mr. Fego, let me go after you for a bit. So we need to understand the importance of why we need to revamp and then get up to speed with everything that's happening, and of course get into that digital space, right? So can you throw more light on the importance? So let's put it out there. Let us know directly, why is it important that we revamp our business processes in this era?
Okay, good morning, and thanks for having me once again. So I'll just use one word, perhaps just achieve more. I think that's one word I will use to summarize this. While Dolapo was talking, I was laughing. The fact that he made a lot of statements that digital has been there, or in Africa, let's say Nigeria, It has been a case of we waiting for the opportunity to happen, and that's what COVID has done for us. It has kind of teleported us into that whole space. So instead of waiting for 5 years or waiting for 10 years, it's now here. And the funny part of it is that you have no other choice, unlike before where you have alternatives. So you can decide to go digital or decide to go offline, but now you don't have that option. I'll try as much as possible to be practical. So one of the brands that we manage is Honda Automobile, the whole Western Africa. I know for a while now, we've been pushing that let's go digital, let's switch a lot of our marketing strategy to digital and all of that. And there's been this whole delay that it's not yet time, let's hold on a bit. And guess what happened? The moment COVID happened, we didn't have to push for that again. It happened immediately.
True.
Yeah, and the good part of it is that it helps to save cost. It helps to achieve more with less. One of the things that happened with us, with all the data that we've gathered, is that from the budget that we had before COVID, we've tend to save close to 60% of the budget that we normally spend on marketing. Now that we're applying digital solutions, unlike when we're doing offline for them. And for them, you're saving costs, even though right now everybody's in that space where you need to save costs. So it's not an option for you that, okay, let's do this or let's do this. That's what you have to do. And one of the things that I've seen that has happened is that there are new markets that have emerged from this. There are new opportunities that have emerged. And like I made the example of the budget cost from a client. And let me give a typical example. So let's say you could achieve a 1 million naira budget. You could use a 1 million naira budget to achieve 10 sales. And now you're using probably a 500,000 naira budget to still achieve that same 10 sales. What that does for you is that, sorry, let me show this. The reason I'm talking about market is because that's my space. We're marketing and brand communication agents. So most of the stuff I'm going to talk about is going to be around marketing and all of that. So back to my illustration. So now you've been able to use 500,000 to achieve the same 10 sales. What that means is that you can now actually use the same budget you were using before COVID to achieve more. Why? Because you're using digital solutions to push out all of this interaction and also get some level of traction. So I'll go back to what I said initially. If I have to use one word to summarize the opportunity in the digital era, is that it helps to achieve more. And I'll just leave it there.
Okay, that's great. All right, so Mr. Arinze, please let me come over to you. So what common mistakes would you say that SMEs make in their intention to change up how their businesses run from your experience?
All right, thanks for having me. So from my experience, I'm going to talk more from a macro standpoint because it's not necessarily on the one-on-one perspective because of what we do statewide. So normally in any good state, I'm going to limit my experience to what I'm facing here. Typically, we have a lot of businesses that want to mimic other businesses that they see or that they have inclinations towards, but they don't necessarily have that capacity to take that business to the next level. For example, one thing I've noticed from the standpoint of where we're coming from in the States is a lot of businesses here that play within that SME micro enterprises space, they are a bit skeptical, quite skeptical about consultancy. So going out there to get professional services that will come and help you revamp your business or give you the right expertise that you need to take it to the next level. There's a lot of skepticism towards engaging those kinds of professionals. Then you have other instances where the capacity constraints. A lot of businesses they might know what their cost entails, what their costings might be, but from a standpoint of checking it with revenue, there's a problem there. So you find businesses that keep going, plugging in. Then at the end of the month, they notice they don't have any, they've not really made a profit. So we noticed that over here. So what we're just trying to do in a nutshell is see how, considering the terrains we're in right now, see how we can incorporate technology and new new kinds of financial solutions, new kinds of solutions to help them take to the next level. We are introducing a lot of technology in what we're doing. So we're quite in a space where we believe next few months, although this might not be Lagos or Abuja, but with what we've been doing since my resumption in 2019, a lot of our products are catered or towards technology inclusion. So what we try and do is, you can't force them to do it, but we tie it towards our loans and towards any other services that we want to provide. So if you want to take this loan or these services or grants, make sure you join our financial literacy course. Make sure you have your business consultant program. We have a business consultant matching program for SMEs. Make sure you have your analyst on board. Make sure we also make sure that all our businesses download. We have a partner here called Zen Finance. So we want them to, download their apps so and we teach them how to use it for inventory management, invoicing, and things of that nature. So in the last few months, and we also do a lot of free masterclasses on digital marketing, understanding how to push your business digitally. So we've been seeing a lot of traction. Going on there, and we're quite excited as to the possibilities going forward.
Oh, that is very impressive. Very, very impressive. Well done. Mr. Delacqua, over to you. Okay, so how can you say SMEs now can reflect on their current business model? Because I mean, since the pandemic hits, people are slowly trying to get back to business as usual, but then a lot of people are struggling and they can't figure out how to break out and do, probably sales as they did before, or probably get on board what's happening now. So how would you say they can reflect on their current business model and identify the signs in rethinking their business processes?
Good question. Thank you. I think for me, right, what we have seen, just in general, what we have seen is the pandemic has also shown you, what I would call the defensibility of your business. Is it a non-essential, and not all businesses to be an essential, but, even with all kinds of services, it boils down to the core thing that is super important. And so, that has been something that, this past year and a half has helped us with. And I think what we've also seen people do is pivot the whole business, into new ideas or refocus to the one profitable thing. But if I was to basically say the signs, right, I have 4 things that come to mind. I think the first one is, obviously you want to be growing revenue. So your revenue growth is something that you want to basically choose areas of your business or business opportunities that can drive that. I think the second thing is profitability. And for me, it's not just the overarching profitability of your business, but the different service lines. If you're a product-based business, is like you want to start looking into the profitability of the different products. I think for me, and then the third is around customers. Which also tends to your revenue and profit, but also, when I think about customers, it's also the level of engagement, right? And how, you want to basically be choosing areas that can ensure that you can still have higher or the same level of engagement with customers. And I think the last thing as well, which is not external focus, but internal focus, is time. You want to introduce new things, and you want to ensure that the turnaround time to get a product done is still the same, or maybe even faster. And that's why people have essentially gone onto digital platforms, as I mentioned before, to ensure that turnaround time is there or faster. So those are the 4 things that I feel like are super important to look at. I think a lot of times people have also looked at the overarching business outputs, but I think there's just an opportunity to look at the different products, the different service lines as well. And one of the things that people that we've learned, as that this has also highlighted, is just the very need to have flexible business models or flexible budgeting, in terms of, now we've been talking to a lot of our customers in terms of how are you scenario planning. right? It's not just about to say, this is how it's going to grow over the next year, but like you need to just start asking yourself the what ifs. If this doesn't happen, what is the scenario A, scenario B, C, or D? And I think lastly, it's also, one of the signs or things to look at is, do we have a culture of learning, experimenting, and iterating? And this doesn't have to be, and I know these are words that a lot of startups use, but like even as a business, even if you're selling yogurt, is there a culture to say that, okay, we are trying to sell this new product. What have we learned from it? How are customers engaging? And that kind of culture and process is something that would got people to move into new things during the pandemic. Even when it comes to marketing, we tried this, doesn't work. This is a metric that we're looking for. So that flexibility and that culture of experimenting and relearning has been something that that people have had to work on. And and if you don't have it, those are things that might not help you to survive or perform optimally. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fega, okay, as an expert in marketing, right? So we need to change up and switch up the way we run our businesses, adopting new technologies and all of that. So what would you say are the opportunities that lie in waiting for us to like literally get to that point? What would you say the opportunities are? Why we need to adopt these new technologies?
Okay, so I'll address this as I'll just go general apart from just marketing, so I don't just dive into marketing alone. I think one of the opportunities that the digital platforms create for us, or the digital era has brought for us, is the ability for businesses to run with low budget and low cost. I know one of the things that have happened before COVID was the fact that most people think that they can't run their business without an office space. So you need to have an office space and all of that. And right now I realize that most offices are being shut down because COVID has proven that you can run your business borderless. You don't need an office space. And another thing that comes to mind is that, okay, what if I need to have a meeting? What if my client needs to come for my meeting? Here comes Zoom. And now, even for those of us that have big offices and all of that, all the meetings that we had since COVID have been via Zoom. So that whole notion of without the office space, you can't run that. So what that does for you is that it helps to reduce your operational cost. And also, for small businesses, one of the things that you hear that I don't have the funds to recruit the necessary personnel that I need. And I think Irene mentioned some of those things. So what are the key elements for a small business? E.g., you need a finance department, you need admin, you need HR and all of that. There are platforms that help you to drive all of this things, even to the extent of creating an invoice. You don't need an accountant to do that for you because there are digital platforms that are there that help to drive this. So I'll say that it helps right now. This whole digital era of digital platforms help SMEs to run their businesses with low budget and low cost. So you don't have an excuse because almost every single thing you need to do right now, there are platforms to do that. Now, going to the marketing part, I know I'm going to talk about that later, but like I said before, there are new markets right now evolving with the whole digital era. You can reach out to almost everyone via digital platform. You don't have to go through the offline process. You can reach out to more people. So there's a bigger market for SME. There's a bigger market for them, and you can reach out to that bigger market with a lower budget. So you don't need like a 1 million naira or probably 500,000 naira. As low as 50,000 naira, you can use promotions or on Facebook or digital platforms to reach out to customers, as long as you're able to identify your target market. And that's critical so that you don't waste your fund reaching out to everyone. They are particular, they are specific target audience. If you can target that, if you can identify that, then you can maximize your fund effectively. So I think for me, one of the advantage of having COVID, let me use that one of the advantage of having COVID right now is that it helps you to run your operation with a lower budget. I know there's a negative part of it. Yeah, people tend to lose their jobs and all of that. And one of the things I'm going to encourage SMEs is that there's a need for new skill sets. because some of these channels, I know that a lot of these SMEs are not used to that. So the whole question comes in: do I need to bring a consultant to do this for me? Do I need to bring a consultant to manage social media, manage my promotions on digital platforms and all of that? But I think these things can be learned. And if you can learn them, then you can save costs, because these are things that you can do by yourself. And I think there are a lot of materials that are free online that you can take up and improve, but you need to see that there's a need for that because of all the different things that are happening. There are new skill sets that SMEs need to learn so that they can adapt and take advantage of some of the opportunities that we have currently in this new era.
Thank you. Okay, so Mr. Arunze, Mr. Fego actually kind of preempted me, because my next question to you was actually going to be that, fine, SMEs that are struggling in their financial positions and all of that, right? They probably need to adopt the revamping process and all of that. Okay, fine. He mentioned that there are skill sets that we need to learn, I mean, to go forward and all of that. So can you throw more light on that and just give us ideas of how this struggling for SMEs can actually adjust and adopt these new technologies?
Okay, thanks for the question. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thanks for the question. So what we're trying to do in the States, again, in my experience, if you don't make some of these transformative policies deliberate or quasi-deliberate, you won't have any traction. So what we did was we focused on human capital in the agency. One of our key tenants is human capital development. We've set up a new loan product. It's been operational since I resumed October 2019. It's been operational since December of that year. It's called Human Capital Development Loans. So just like how you have loans for, that are agri-specific, or loans that, that are gender-specific, we created a loan called Human Capital Development Loans that is strictly intended for skill acquisition. It's not used for anything else. For you to gain skills. It's a zero interest loan. So basically, in my experience, before now, I was also the executive director of Anambra Small Business Agency. They are SME agency as well. And in my experience, anything that is free, any kind of empowerment that is free is not sustainable in the long run. Yeah. So with this loan product, what we do is we partner with private sector. We develop we develop a program that leads to we negotiate a discounted or subsidized rates for whatever that training or skill acquisition class or master class or technical program entails. Then we were able to do a very selective assessment process where we want to identify the youths and the Enugu individuals that have the interest in it. It's different for you to have an interest or you just want to join a program. So they have the interest in it. And when they come on board, they are given these zero interest human capital loans to pay for the training. So the funds go directly to the trainer. They get trained, whether it's a very high intensive training program, whether it's 2, 3, 4 months. And after the training programs, they get their certification. And we also support with access to jobs or entrepreneurial support. So sometimes the private sector anchor in the program retains a portion of the participants that have been trained. Sometimes you have scenarios where other similar companies within that sector hire these individuals, or we support them entrepreneurially with like additional funding or business support tools. So over a long period of time, anywhere between 6 to 15 months, we are able to recover the funds used in training them from sales or from their salaries. So these funds are sustainable. So this is something that we'll be focusing a lot on human capital, because regardless of whatever you set up, whether you're a small business, large enterprise, the one thing that can shut your business down is lack of capacity within your teams and management. So these are deliberate efforts. Like I mentioned earlier, all our loan products, we ensure that you must take a financial literacy test before you can get those loans, regardless of whether you've passed, whether your documentation is in place and everything is in place. We've partnered with Money Africa on this front to provide these financial literacy courses. So outside of that, we also are building that community as well with Money Africa, where we want them to be able to come on board on these programs, learn how to, because a lot of let me just change perspective. A lot of businesses that are thriving in the East, mostly around that trading ecosystem, don't necessarily know how to diversify their funds. They don't know you can play around in the debt capital markets, you can invest in, diversify your funds pretty much. So we're pushing everyone towards this financial literacy course, towards building this community to understand how to thrive in this economy. So for us is, if you're not taking those courses, it's free. If you're not taking those courses, don't come to us for anything. So it's quite deliberate and it leads to a lot of traction. So I've mentioned the human capital side. Some of the programs that we have under the human capital development loans, we have something called Enugu Skillers, where we partnered with iCreate. iCreate is, they focus on technical skills. So these are just for construction jobs. So pretty much we want to use technology to create a to create disruption in the apprenticeship model. So there's a lot of traction in that. You can check it out, enuguskillers.com. There's a partnership with iCreate. And we have something called Enugu Tech. There's a partnership with Utiba, where we'll be training over 800 to 1,000 youths on programming and product design. We're also going to introduce digital data analytics. We have something called the Revamp Innovative Training Program. It's a partnership with private sector to train youths on auto body work and auto body mechanics work. So they get their certification in this 8 months comprehensive training. We're quite excited about that. So we have a partnership with Wild Fusion. It's called the Enugu Youth Empowerment Scheme. So we train youths on digital marketing capacities, high income digital marketing capacities. And after their graduation, get them access to jobs, support them on their entrepreneurial ventures. We just had the first batch graduate in November. And I can tell you of the 400 of them, about 150 have jobs with private sector firms, and the rest are thriving, in the digital space, making money for their businesses. So that's something we're quite happy about. I think I've mentioned the deliberate efforts to introduce technology into companies or individuals that we support. So if we're giving you any loans or any grants, one of the conditions precedent to get it is you must download small business tools like the Zen Finance I mentioned. I'm happy to be here. One of the sponsors of this program, they have this phone, mobile POS pretty much. I think that's something I'll be quite keen to have a discussion on, because it's something we can push to our small businesses that provide services, so they can have a payment solution they can take around with them, and ease of doing business as well. And we've also tried to partner with fintechs. So we have a partnership with Lydia, and we also have a partnership with Carbon. Carbon, they used to be called Pay Later, one of the bigger fintechs in Nigeria. So a lot of these small businesses, for them, everything is a scam. Everything digital is a scam. If there's a loan product online, they call me, okay, what's this, what's that? They believe everything is a scam. So you have to continually educate them, and support them in this process. So they can either apply online for those loans. You can go to the portal enugusme.en.gov.ng/carbon. They can either apply online or come to the agency. We help them apply. And what happens is, once they see these kinds of non-traditional funding opportunities are real, they don't have as much limitations to the traditional ones where you have to bring a lot of collateral. All our funding programs with our fintechs, Lydia, we have one with VBank, and we have one with Carbon. They're all collateral free. So that's quite exciting. You just use your BVN, and with the introduction of global standing instructions, a lot of these things are easier. So it's a gradual step, but I can tell you in the last 18 months, there's been a huge push into accepting digital opportunities in the States. It's gotten to the point where they call me Mr. Digital. Anywhere I go, hey, Mr. Digital. So I guess some of those changes are gradually happening.
Okay, that's
Thank you.
great. I mean, before I move off your back, Mr. Arinze, I want to also ask, okay, fine, as you've mentioned, a lot of people believe that, fine, when they just hear digital tech, they think it's a scam. Also, you spoke about a whole lot of loans available to SMEs out there that they can actually take advantage of, right? But then again, there's this misconception, will I say, in Nigeria about how, okay, fine, when we're talking about loans and all of this organized, especially by the government, right? They have a particular set of people they plan to give, right? I see you're smiling, so we probably understand. You've probably experienced things from that point already. So people have that misconception that, okay, fine, once you see a loan, you see government, they already know. So a lot of people, this doesn't allow people come forward to apply for this loan. So how genuinely available are these loans to us?
Yeah, so thanks for the question. We try to be very transparent. All the information, you can get it on our websites. But what the digital system does for you in applying is it gives everybody a level playing ground. So it's actually something that we insist on. That's why a lot of our learning programs are done through portals or through online portals. So like we have a program with VBank. It's called the Enugu Studentpreneur Development Loans. So it's strictly for university students. So if you're an entrepreneur in university, these loans are for you. It's open to all university students in the States. You go through the portal called sme.vfdbank.com. Everyone has equal opportunity there. Same thing as like I mentioned, the Lydia loan and the carbon loan. We try and make it online so there's an equal playing field. That's one. Two, another thing we do is partnering with the private sector also helps, because these funds don't necessarily come from the state agency. So in our partnerships, it's either a joint funding program or we provide assistance to these companies. So our funds are channeled to these companies that have the fiduciary functions to disburse loans. So they go through most of the appraisal requirements. So there's not a lot of interference from us, to be honest with you. I'm someone that I've been in the investment banking space. My career started in investment banking before I moved into public sector in 2014. So it's not something that we do here. I know it's prevalent, but it's not something that we do here. We try and give everyone an equal playing field. Nothing is perfect, but I think if you make your inquiries about SME within the last 18 months, it's been a systemic change in how we try and operate over here.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for the clarification. Mr. Dalapo, let me come over to you. Okay, so I mean, with every change comes challenges, right? So what challenges in terms of cost and resistance would you say SMEs should expect as regards adopting new technological processes in their business?
So that's a good question, right? And the cost is not something that I every business has different needs and different platforms that they would engage with cost different things. But I think the general principle in our approach is knowing that it's more from a time point of view, right? You want to introduce new solutions to your business. How do you make sure that it's used? How do you make sure your employees understand it? And so what we've seen and advise a lot of SMEs on is, first of all, understand the biggest pain points that need to be addressed. It's not because you hear on this platform or different platforms that you need to have a logistics app or have this or e-commerce and build your own e-commerce. what is the biggest thing that, is priority? And that needs to be something that needs to be sounded with your employees as well, not just from you as an owner of the business, what you think is great. So first of all, really do that needs analysis. Needs are not wants, right? I think the second thing is, even within the organization, you need to pick what I call digital ambassadors. Who are those one or two people that can actually test the product first, the new platforms first, before the whole company uses it. And I think what we have done, even in my organization, is when we want to introduce stuff, there are 2-3 people, possibly heads of department, that basically need to first engage. And those are the people that will then go ahead to drive accountability and the training for the employees to use that product or platform. I think the second thing is just around knowing that a lot of these platforms have freemium models. Freemium means that you can test for a good month or two, or level of data that you need for a while, and you can test before you pay for something. So that gives a lot of businesses the breather to basically freely check if they really want it, and not essentially paying excessively for different tools. I think also, when it comes to marketing, because it's not digital marketing, it's not like, oh, because I want to get 1,000, app installs or customers per month, I need to basically put that, the amount for it, right, all at once. I think what we have seen people do, especially digital marketing, is the ability to test, iterate, know what your customers need, and then continue building on that. I think those are the kind of the big things that we have seen work. That it's not a sprint, it's a process of learning from an internal point of view, and also externally, as well. Yeah.
Okay, so I would also like to ask you this, right? I think there's an inferred struggle with technology when it comes to Nigerians. I mean, okay, fine, let me use this example. As I said earlier, I'm a lawyer, right? And I've had a lot of colleagues of mine complain about the CAC registration process now. Because of course, before we had to go to CAC office physically and do all of that. So even before the pandemic hit, I mean, it was being possible to, at least they were trying to create an avenue where people could actually go online and register their businesses themselves, right? Or if the lawyers could also do that by themselves in the comfort of their homes without having to go all the way to CAC. But they tried that process. And I will tell you that from then till now, there has literally been a struggle to get like registration done, because it is now on a digital platform, because now we have to do it online. There's like for a while, there's been complaints of how the sites has literally been jammed, how things are not moving forward. The process now takes longer. I mean, registering a company is tedious on its own when done physically, but now the idea to ease that stress and that burden has literally gone from, it has literally gone really bad. So with all of that in mind, and also considering the terrible networks we have here when it comes to the internet, first of all, what would you say will be the solution, if you were to prefer a solution to all of that? What would it be? And then how can we honestly, open-heartedly trust this digital transformation age?
So I think it's a two-way system, right? It is a two-way system in that the solution provider needs to be up to scratch. And I think the CAC one is a blocker, because everyone needs to do that. But, and I think, it's the government we're talking about. So if you can provide feedback to them, that's great. But I think when I look at the other tools that it's up to you to decide, a lot of things that like a lot of platforms now have like an offline version. So my solution, for example, has an offline version. And what that means is that you can still do the record keeping or whatnot that needs to happen offline. And then when the internet is back up, you basically can, it syncs. And so that's something that, in your search for solutions, that needs to happen. And I think, for us as well, in distributing some devices that, rely on connection, I think a lot of business owners now need to, and even as solution providers, but also business owners now need to be very specific in that I am in Oniru or I am in Lekki. I know that 9Mobile doesn't work. And so when you're giving me something in this solution, make sure it's connected to this level. And I think it's that level of specificity.
But they will never tell you that, oh, this doesn't work there until you experience it.
Exactly.
If you ask, they'll tell you yes.
Yeah, but that you as a business owner needs to push. And so what we have done is, now we have hotspots, right? In terms of this is an MTN strong area. And so, you need to deploy devices there, or your SIM cards need to be MTN, whatever. And so as business owners, and what happens now is you go to a store, for example, and they have 5 POS terminals, and that's because they said the network, and one is MTN. And so, those ones that are not working, and rather than confuse yourself and receiving payment for 5 different places, it's super important that you know yourself what works, and you help them help you essentially. The one thing I wanted to mention as well, about implementing is it's not just okay to say, okay, I want a platform for collaboration, Slack. I want a platform for payment, this. And I think even where we are going as technology, I think technology, for businesses, it's not just aggregate, just taking in as many. You need to start looking for platforms that aggregate. So, for example, we wanted to engage with customers and we needed a platform for that. And for me and the team, I was like, if this platform doesn't speak to email, doesn't speak to WhatsApp, doesn't speak to all of that stuff, we shouldn't have it, because I'm not trying to just build another system. Because what happens is you put in technology and it impacts the system, right? Look at down to inventory management. If you are changing the system, how stock moves and how you replenish, it impacts the system, and that can even take you longer, 3 hours to disrupt things. And so take new solutions that just add to the process, find solutions that as best as possible aggregate aggregate as much as possible. But as well, and I think to your question, before going out, as business owners, we have this aspiration that we want to be digitally transformed. We want to be a digital first, all that nice stuff. But a lot of times it's not needed because you're not in the root, in the nitty-gritties of the business, and what your employees are struggling with is not what you are aspiring for. And so those are the things that you need to really, that confirmation, that alignment with your frontline team. What is the real problem? What are the things we need to solve? You need to get that before going to a service provider for a solution, and know your information. So when people are coming to you, you ask the right questions. Is this MTN reliant only? Is it 9Mobile reliant only? It can't work for me. This is what I need. This is what I need. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Fega, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, so my next question is to you. Okay, so how would you say SMEs can create a comprehensive digital strategy to revamp their business?
Okay, thank you very much. The first thing I'll say is, number one, I'll say evaluate your operational processes. So I know right now that we're moving into the work at home system, where companies right now they tend to work from home. They don't go to the physical location. And I know one of the challenges that I've gotten from that, one of the feedback is that we're typically not disciplined in Nigeria. Sorry that I have to say that here, because I've seen a lot of that. We're not disciplined. So how do you guarantee that this guy is saying that is working, and how do you monitor? How do you confirm that it's actually working? So I'm just going to share a template that one organization used. So what they've done is that, I think currently for operations and for workstation, there are some good platforms that are there that helps functionality and also productivity. I think one of them is Slack. So I think that's what it is. So what they do typically is that, so they have department head, then they have the management team. So what they've done is that they create this whole template where every single day, every team member uploads their tasks for the day. When they upload their tasks for the day, then every single day, every department have a meeting to analyze or evaluate what they've done. Then after that, then the management team have their own meeting to also evaluate what all the departments have done. I know what that does is that it now creates a lot of meetings every day, and I think it's a lot, but it also helps to monitor and also guarantee that everyone is pulling their weight. So what they do is that, so e.g., I say that I am going to do 5 tasks a day because you're working from your house. So I need to have a process that shows me or that guarantees me that staff A or staff B is functioning or is doing their job at per time. So what they do is that the moment you plug in your tasks for the day, for the day, then the department have their meeting, they evaluate every single thing that you said you're going to do for that day, and okay, what have you done? When that happens, during the management meeting, every department head is able to present based on what is happening at the department level. And I think I'm not saying it's perfect, but in a way it helps to guarantee that there's some level of productivity. And with that, what they've done is that they've been able to work from home without having to go to the physical location. So there's productivity. You can see that people are working. And I think that's one thing that small businesses need to start doing right now. In terms of, like I said, in terms of platform for meeting, there's Zoom, there's Google Meet and all of that. You can use any of those platforms to be able to drive your operation. So I'll go back to that again. Evaluate your operational process. I just talked about the workstation. In terms, I know I mentioned about the invoicing before. There are platforms that can help you to generate all of this. So you don't have to even see the person that is generating that or have a conversation, because all of these things can be done digitally. The second one is, I'm going to talk about eliminating what doesn't work. So one of the advice I'm going to give to SN right now, don't stick to what doesn't work, because you end up wasting time. So I can decide that this is the process that I want to work with. If it's not working for me, if it's not helping us to achieve our goal, it might work for company B, doesn't mean that it's going to work for me. So at every point, you need to be able to evaluate this. Is it working for me? If it's not working, then eliminate it and look for something that works better. I know for some small businesses, they prefer to use WhatsApp to communicate with each other. They post their tasks for the day and they ask questions. Okay, what have you done? Please, can you share your deliverables and all of that? If that's what is working for you, you don't have to do what the other guys are doing. If Slack is working for the other guy, then let it work for that. If WhatsApp is working at this point, then please deploy it, because the most important thing is productivity. Deploy what will give you productivity per time. The third thing I'm going to talk about is evaluate your marketing goal. So I know I talked a bit about this, about skill sets and also digital channels. Now I'm going to come back to the skill set part. I've seen that a lot of business have not been able to revamp or evolve into the old digital era because they're struggling with some of those things. And I think one of the challenges that you're thinking you need to fund all of this process yourself. You need to bring in a consultant that can perform all of the digital tasks for you. If you don't have the resources to do that, please go and learn this thing. And I will say this again, there are platforms you can learn all of the skills for free. So you don't need so much to learn this. It has to happen because things are moving so fast. So it's either you evolve or you shut down. I don't think any business owner wants to shut down right now. So you need to look for something that works. Then in terms of digital channel, like I said, yes, there's social media. There's all the different social media platforms there. You don't have to use every single thing. Determine who your target markets are. When you determine your target market are, that will inform the decision of which of this platform to use. And there's something called geofencing and targeting and all these tools are there with Facebook. But like I said, skill set matters too, because You can't use something you don't even know about. So you need to learn how these things work and deploy them. Because if you understand how this whole process works, then you spend less achieving more. You have digital channels there, which can also help your marketing process. Right now, you can't go out there to look for customers, but you can reach out to every customer on the digital platform. You can target people. You can decide that I want to target people in only Lekki, or I want to target people on the mainland, or I want to target people in Abuja or any state. All of those tools are available there. You have to identify your target market. Then you're able to apply the right tool to help you achieve your goal. The last thing I'm going to talk about is be flexible. So I think one of the things that is helping us right now and we're benefited from is the ability to move or to change or to switch when it needs to happen. And I think I gave an example of one of our clients, and there was another client too of us that they never believed in the whole digital marketing stuff, the whole digital platforms and all of that. They've always believed in the offline strategy because that works. And like I said, COVID has taken away all these other options. You don't have these options available to you. You have only this. So what happens? And they didn't have a choice. They had to switch immediately. Even though they don't understand all this terminology, they don't understand the metrics, they don't understand the analytics and how it works. But you have to achieve your goal, because if you can't achieve your marketing goal, then you're done. So I will encourage every small business at this point, please be flexible. If you need to switch, if you need to change strategy, please do that and as fast as possible. So I'll stop that. I think I'll just share just this four strategy, and I think if you can apply them, then this can help you to create or to revamp your whole business, your business strategy into the digital era.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Fego. But please, let me take you back a little bit. Yeah, you did mention skill sets. And I know, fine, as you rightly said, there are different skill sets for different business owners and businesses, right? But off the top of your head, what would you say the key skill sets are that business owners need to have, at least to be able to adjust in this digital era, like at least the key ones?
Number one for any business. One skill set that I'm going to mention right now is digital marketing. As I think every business owner needs to learn digital marketing, needs to have that skill set. And for us too, it's something that also happens to us, because like I said, you know that this is the only channel that you have to deploy all your strategies to. Even for us, we also had to increase our staff strength in that area, because we knew that almost every single client, everybody wants to go digital. If you even check Google promotions and all that, the cost of promoting has increased because now you have more people, we have more businesses coming into the digital space. And for us as a team, we have to identify at that point that, okay, our strength, our team number at that point can't accommodate all of those demands. Then what happened was that we needed to bring in more persons in that area. So I think it's something that every business needs right now. You need to have you need to have that skill, digital marketing skill, because if you have that, then you can do every single thing with that. You can drive your marketing process by yourself without having to bring in a consultant to do that. If you can afford to bring in a consultant, fine, yes. At least there are a lot of digital marketing companies out there, then you can pay. But if you cannot afford it, please go out there and learn that skill. And apart from that, I think I'm also going to mention something else too: content creation. Right now, content is key. Mm-hmm. So the thing is that most people think that it's all about promotion, but you're promoting something. So the strength of the promotion is tied to the content, the kind of content that you develop. So the quality of your content, how creative is your content. So that's another area that I think a lot of business owners can develop themselves. You can learn all of those things. You can learn how to build content, learn the skills, and see how you can apply them. Because if you develop quality content, it means that you're going to achieve better results. You want customers to be able to engage. You want them to be able to make decisions as fast as possible. One of the things that will help them to arrive at that position is the kind of content that you develop. And if you don't develop quality, I've seen a lot of content that when I look at, I don't feel like taking any action because of the quality of the content. But those guys have spent a lot of money promoting that stuff. Why? Because the priority has always been on promoting and pushing our stuff without focusing on the key, which is the kind of content that you develop for that business or for the product.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mr. Rinze, if you're still with us, I'd like to ask you one final question. Okay, so I mean, I think this question is basically for the reason of recap, right? So what are the solutions readily available to improve digital innovation performance or organizational innovativeness, and how to choose which works best for a specific type of business?
Sorry, can you say that question again one more time?
What are the solutions readily available to improve digital innovation performance or organizational innovativeness, and how can we choose and decide that, okay, fine, this particular one works best for my business?
I think the other speakers have gone in depth into some of the solutions available, some of the tech solutions available that help with productivity. But just speaking from a macro perspective, I typically am more concerned because we have some of these partners that we partner with, some of these initiatives that we push, we try and find the best means to ensure that it's very scalable. Like now we're having conversations with a company called Arifu. It will help. So they are sort of like a chat box that takes your content and help you push it to other regions, because a lot of our initiatives have to be able to touch people in the rural communities. So we have with that platform, they can easily use text commands, be able to learn remotely, and be able to access services remotely. But speaking from a macro standpoint, I think the first step, especially with a region like the Southeast, I think the last metrics that came out into the internet penetration in the Southeast wasn't too appealing, or wasn't too great for the Southeast. I think we had the lowest numbers in terms of all the regions concerned. So I think the first step for us is to, how do we get them on board, before necessarily thinking beyond that scope. So a lot of literacy, financial and tech literacy is what we're focusing on right now. So I think that's the first natural step. Look, this is not confusing. This is not a scam. This is going to be beneficial for you. Learn how it's going to work. Then from there, I think once it becomes part of their attitudes, we can take it to the next step.
Okay, that is actually very true. Thank you very much. Okay, so now I think we'll go right into question and answer. Let me just go to the chat room to see if we have any questions. Okay, so I have one question from an anonymous attendee. What is the cost implication of a complete digital revamp? Okay, who would like to take that? That's the only question we have.
What is the cost implication of a digital? I mean, I think it's very, very hard, and you possibly need a digital consultant to help you with that. But also, so it's not possible that any one of us would give you a number to that. But I can tell you the risks that what you should actually do and what you should approach. But also the biggest thing for an at-once digital revamp is that like it takes time and it could be disruptive. And how you should look at it is in phases, right? You do it in phases and start with the most important one. And the digital revamp, you need to also, you need to be specific on your needs and not just say that all these things need to be revamped. Engage you, as I mentioned before, engage your employees, know what the biggest issues are, know what is going to move the delta, move, in terms of revenues, customer engagement, and, growth and profit, and maybe prioritize that first before doing any other thing. Yeah.
Okay, awesome, thank you. I think that is the only question we have. But at this point, I'd like to say that, netplus.com, they do have a number of tools and digital solutions that can definitely be really, really helpful to business owners, SMEs, and the likes. So definitely you can reach out to them on social media and take advantage of all that they have available as regards payment solutions, amongst other things. They do have nice products out. And at this point, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who joined us. And thank you to all our panelists. Thank you so much for your time and your experience and your wisdom so far. At this point, I think I will move on to the closing remark. And sorry, excuse me. The closing remark will be done by Mr. Wale Faron. We have him. Hi, sir. Good morning.
I had some questions. I don't know if you saw it in the chat box. Please,
no, I didn't.
Check.
Sorry, that's fine. Oh, you could go ahead with your questions. I didn't see them.
So I was asking, how do I tell that my business needs a total digital revamp? And how do I see the signs?
Okay.
Thank you.
Who would like to take that? Okay.
How can your business, so say that again, how do you know if your business needs a total digital revamp?
Yes, and how can I see the signs?
I think I actually, that was related to the question that you had asked me before, right? And I think your reason for businesses, the reason for being is for profit, right? And it's for growth as well. And I think you can see the signs. First of all, it's super important if you're going into your business that you know what best practice looks like. What does great look like? And where are you right now? So if you know, for example, one of your competing business, maybe you're in the healthy food business, So Fresh, for example, takes 2 hours to deliver, and you're doing 5 hours, and you know that there's a way to optimize that, right? So those are very clear benchmarking, but also see the signs from feedback from customers, right? Customers, if you don't have a customer feedback, a channel for that, make sure you do that, but also continuous engagement with your employees. What are those things that need, that cause headache, that, they hope that will be better? But also, it's not just that in a vacuum, but also, they also need to be aware of what best practice looks like. So I think there's benchmarking, is ensuring that there's a clear feedback loop, in that you're getting feedback internally and externally. I think also it's those numbers that you need to hit, right? What kind of digital platforms do I need that can help me drive further growth, that can help me drive further, better profits, and can help me, increase engagement for customers. If, for example, your customers, you are using a product that only one customer, that customers are, that customers should be buying on a monthly basis, but your customers are not buying, only once. The customers are maybe only buying twice in a year. Then you need to basically figure out, do I have the right platforms that basically can help me, understand the patterns, faster, but also can ensure that I can quickly upsell effectively. So, your customers, your profits, your revenue are North Stars, and make sure that you are essentially, having the right platform to drive those insights and drive those actions. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Sorry, do we have any more questions? Can't see any here. Linda.
Yeah, hi. No more questions. I think we're good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, so now can we please have Mr. Wale Farrow for the closing remarks? Or before then, do any of our panelists have anything else to say? Just to round off. More advice. Okay, no. Mr. Wale, over to you.
Thank you so much, Wilfred. Thanks for taking time to moderate this session. And a big thank you to all the panelists for their contribution and for the nugget of advice and information that has been provided in the course of the last hour. I just want to talk very briefly to the attendees. I'm pointing everyone's attention to three things as we close this out. One is that a lot of information was shared here. I don't think we should just make it a forum where we listen to information and advice, and we don't take the practical steps to implement those things in our business. I think these days there are a lot of webinars, a lot of forums and seminars where we all get together and attend and have this nice conversation. But that next step of making it practical, taking things from webinars like this and putting it into your business in a practical way is a way to actually begin to see the benefit of attending or spending 1 hour on programs like this. The second thing is that this is a monthly series. I'd like for everyone to please put this in their calendars. We're going to have different people talk about different things around digital transformation. So it's just a good time, 1 hour in a month, to refresh ideas and knowledge about technology and what can drive innovation for your business. And lastly, don't come alone, bring a friend. You have business associates, you have people that may be able to benefit from this. Extend the invitation to them and bring them. Until next time, I just want to take time to also appreciate our partners from Business Day for putting this awesome program together. And we look forward to having everyone again in March. Thank you so much. Back to you, Winfrey.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wale. It was definitely my pleasure being the moderator of this amazing event, getting to meet amazing and great personalities. And of course, talking about something that's really, really important in this day and time. I mean, almost everyone, okay, not everyone, but almost everyone has a business or is starting a business. And we all know that SMEs need the support, because the truth is everybody's complaining about Nigeria being this way, being that way, and we are the solutions to our problems. So the more we help ourselves grow, the more we can save the economy, and then of course take Nigeria from where it is right now to where we want it to be. So I'm really appreciative for this opportunity to moderate this, and thank you, Business Day, for this very, very, I think this is very, very, very timely and very thoughtful. Thanks also netplus.com for also, putting and organizing this, putting this together. It was definitely my pleasure to be here. And thank you, Linda. Thank you, Josie. Thank you, everyone that made it happen today. And on that note, I think it's a wrap from me.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much, everyone. Thank you. Nice day.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.